What is going on, all of you gambling addicts out there in the world? I'm Mega so thank you for checking out this video here. Whether you are a new or returning viewer, always appreciate you stopping by, so thanks for being here. And today I wanted to talk about a game that I heard so much about, and so I figured I had to check it out. The initial premise didn't grab me a lot, but we'll get into kind of what I thought of it overall. There's not really a lot of spoilers necessarily to talk about with this game, but I'll try to be very light in terms of gameplay spoilers. There's really no story here, so I'll save that for the end, like more gameplay element spoilery stuff. But for now, kind of go into this game. This, of course, is Balatro, which, if you haven't heard, I know this is kind of popped off. It's an indie game made by, I believe, one person, and it kind of exploded a couple months ago as of this recording. And I heard about it from different podcasts I listened to, and I'm not the biggest card game fan. This is a poker rogue game, and that was what it initially was like. I don't know if I really want to check it out. I mean, I hear great things, but you know what? I figured this year in particular, I really wanted to get more into indie games, and considering this is a roguelike game, I mean, I really enjoyed my time with Vampire Survivors, just maybe like 4 or 5 months ago as this recording. Really got hooked into this game, and I was like, you know what? It's only 15 bucks. Like, why don't I give this game a chance and see how it is? And I gotta say, just initial impressions are a lot more positive than I was expecting. I'm glad I got to check out this game. It is currently on Steam. I know it might be on Switch. I know it was taken down for a while because it supported gambling or whatever. It was taken down off of the Switch eShop for a bit. I don't know if it's back up. Feel free to check that store page. But I played on my Steam Deck, and it's a fantastic Steam Deck game as well. But I'll kind of play along, kind of get into my thoughts on this game. But overall, I mean, yes, it is a rogue game based on the traditional card game poker, which, if you don't know, essentially you are trying to, usually you play against other players. Now, this game is not a multiplayer. You usually are trying to play against other players. You're trying to compete for higher points and higher chips based on your hands, and different hands have different numbers of points. We'll get into that in a second. But with this game, essentially the developer here took that idea and made it into a rogue game, and it works really well. So there's different decks you can unlock. I won't go into too many of them. Once you win with a deck, I actually haven't tried this too much, you can increase the stakes, and that also impacts it. There's so many different little facets in this game. That's what a lot of these rogue games are great about, right? Is there's so many different elements that impact how the game is played. For now, we'll just go standard here, with a standard deck here, which you can see here on the screen. Essentially, there's a bunch of different stuff that's going on, right? Every ante, essentially think of it as like a round of 3 matches, right? Every ante, there's 8 antes total in like the main way you play this game, and each one has like 3 different rounds, or blinds as they're called in this one. The first one is a small blind, which is usually slightly less difficult of a score to get. You see the number of chips there, 300. That's the number of chips you have to gain within the number of hands you have, which in this case is 4, and you can also discard, which I have up to 4 discards per blind. Also, you know, there's the big blind, which is a bigger chip count, and then the boss blind, essentially, which is the third one there. In this case, it's the club, which all club cards are debuffed, and the higher you get, the more like ridiculous those boss blind effects can be. There's also different tags and stuff where you can skip, and you get, in this case, for example, this doubles your money, your current money count. So every time you finish a blind, you will gain a certain amount of money, based on how well you did and like how many hands you played. I don't think discards factor into price, at least normally. But it's like, yeah, it is poker, which, like, you don't need to know poker going into this. I really did not know much about poker here, but you can see here, if we go into the run info, they very nicely display all the different kinds of hands for you. So straight flush is the best one. That's 5 sequentially in a row, also of the same suit. 4 of a kind is next, 3 of a kind, a pair, which is a full house. Flush is all the same suit. Straight is consecutively in a row, and then down, last, of course, being a high card, whichever single card you can play. So they give you so many details. You can see the upcoming blinds in the ante, and vouchers are essentially upgrades for this run. Now, this is not a roguelite game, so unlike Vampire Survivors, you cannot purchase upgrades that carry throughout the antes, or, sorry, any of your runs that you do. But you get plenty while you're going through. So, for example, I'm taking a look at this. I don't have a flush, I don't have a straight. I'm close to a straight. Let me see. What's discard on this? Is Y? There we go. All right, so you can see a -1 discard there. All right, well, didn't really get me anything, unfortunately. However, I do have a 2 pair, so let's play a 2 pair. This is literally the very first round of, of this There we go. I'm getting used to the controls. I've not played on a controller before. I've only been playing either on PC when I first streamed it or via the Steam Deck. So I'm getting used to using the PC controller here. There we go. It's 3 of a kind. I'm not going to score very well this round. I found that I'm personally really good at straights and flushes because those are like the highest card count, right? The 5 cards. You can play at max 5 cards at a time. But, you know, there's also... I'm going to go for the flush this time. I'm going to discard a few. You know, there's so many different things that you can do, essentially. Damn. Oh, I'm so close. I'm literally 1 off. That's the thing, is sometimes, like, it can be really tricky. Like, you need to keep using discards, especially if you're going for a straight or a flush. That can be pretty tricky, but if you can nail it, if you have enough discards, you really can do well. Now, we're going to get into the main gimmick of this game, because right now it just seems like basic poker. You're playing your hands. You're playing against the house in this game. That's what makes it different. And that's where it can be kind of satisfying. It's not competitive in terms of playing against other people. You are playing against the house. So you can see, depending on the number of remaining hands I have, you get, $1 each for each remaining hand. I only had 1 this time. And then the normal cash out, but now I get plus $4. Now here's what makes this game very, very interesting and really chaotic and really fun. The main selling point of this game, of course, it's poker played against the house, but the jokers. You can have, by default, up to 5 jokers equipped. Now, the jokers are kind of like, think like different like of status effects and stuff you have in other rogue games, right? Where they will change completely how you play. So, for example, here, there's different like versions. There's common, uncommon, rare. I forget. I don't even know what's above rare. I don't think I've gotten one that's above rare. But here, this is the Fibonacci one. Every time you play an ace, 2, 3, 5, or 8, you get plus 8 multiplier. Now you see the 2 numbers, the blue and the red on the left side. The blue is the number of chips from your hand. The red is the multiplier, which can really add a lot. So let's say I had an ace, 2, 3, 5, 8 of the same suit. That'd be a flush. Like, I would, with this joker, just completely go all in on that. And it can get absolutely absurd. There's little flame effects you'll see if you do really well. This one's also good. This is plus 3 for every... I'm going to buy that for every joker card I own. I can't buy the other one, unfortunately. But once I fully fill out that joker set, I'll have plus 15 mults because it's 3 times the number of jokers you have, which is really cool. These are the vouchers, like I said, the upgrades. There's also different packs you can get, kind of like, think of like Pokemon card packs. You can buy these different packs of cards that completely change your game. So Celestial packs, these are planet cards, which these are upgrades. So these are like to level up the hands you have. So you'll see here, right? Remember this list of all the different hands we have. You can go in here and upgrade. It usually just randomizes like a few different ones you can do. I'm gonna use the flush because I do flush a lot. And now you can see it goes up to level 2, so it increases the number of chips I get when I play one, and it increases the multiplier as well. So there's so many different factors that go into it. But it's so satisfying to see just that counter go up. Once again, I'm gonna go because it's all about just like playing. What I find is it's playing in the moment, but also like playing in the moment of like what cards you have, because obviously you don't want to discard too much and you want to use as few hands as possible to score better. But also it really depends on the jokers you have access to, right? And so you'll see the little flames there because now I have the plus 3 mult as well, so it adds up. So you score like these really big number of chips there to kind of progress. So the thing is the further you get in this game, the crazier it gets. And that's what's so addicting about it. That's why everybody was raving about this, because then you come across, ooh, disable. I haven't discovered that one. Let's add it to the collection. There's also, I'll look into this in the spoiler part of this video. There's a whole collection of stuff, like all the jokers unique jokers you found, all the different celestial cards, planet cards, arcana cards, all that kind of stuff. Tarot cards is what I was thinking of. Tarot cards, planet cards are like upgrades to your played hands. The tarot cards kind of have different status effects that usually affect the cards in your deck. They can give them specific abilities like certain multipliers or like, different like abilities and stuff like that. That's what the tarot cards are. Now, I don't have enough for anything else. I don't want to play too many of these, but let's go into the boss blind. Let's see what the boss blind looks like. I'm not going to get too far in this game, but like the farther you get, it really gets interesting. So this one you can see, I see I have to sell the card to disable the current blind. All right. Disable the current boss blind. So if I sell it now, I don't know if it'll disable. Well, it might disable the ability. What happens? Yeah, okay, so it disables, the clubs were debuffed before. So it's all, you really have to factor it in the moment. There's a lot that goes into this. But it's really fun. I don't know, it's a very, very fun game that, like, you just get hooked on it. I've sunk too many hours into this. Over, like, I played it for maybe a couple weeks just here and there. I put about like 15 hours total into this game. I did a one stream of like about a month ago of this recording, and then I played more just on my own time, just like quick match. The great thing about this game too is the runs are longer. So what I love about Vampire Survivors, right, just to compare it to another rogue game that I've played, those are really the only two ones I've played. Unlike Vampire Survivors, so Vampire Survivors has very short runs, right? They can go on for like half an hour, but they're still like relatively short in the grand scheme of rogue like games. But with this one, the runs are, depending on how well you play, usually a lot longer. But you can also just, like, at any point, you can stop playing and you will be able to resume back where you left off. It could be in the middle of a round. It can be, you know, while you're at the shop or something. Like, it could be literally whenever. So that's, like, the accessibility is great in this game for that reason. So you can see now we beat the first boss, and now we're on to the second ante. So there's 8 antes in the regular runs of this game. I've only beaten this game twice. I did once when I was prioritizing flushes and once when I was prioritizing straights, and both those worked well for me. So this one, 1 in 2 chance to create a tarot card when any booster pack is open. That one's an interesting one. We're gonna stack up the jokers because also buying jokers for this one will increase the multiplier. So there's so many things you got to keep in mind. Here's a tarot card. This one would, if I were to buy this and use it, it would double my current money count, which in this case is only 7, so I would get up to 14 bucks. Let's do the buffoon pack though. I want to see what other jokers are in here. +3 when any booster pack is skipped. Oh, right. And so when I opened a booster pack, I got a free tarot card. There we go. That one converts up to 3 cards to spades. And then played face cards have a 1 in 2 chance to give $2. Do the red card. And then I got $3 left. Yeah, let's use this. Why not? Why not? Trying to figure out why that got me. I don't think I fully read it. I was not paying attention, but so the farther you get, the more the higher the blinds will get, and so you really got to pay attention. And you really, this game is about adapting your play style to how well you're doing. I know this is very early game, but like the farther you get, the more exciting it gets, because then you stack up on jokers. You get a bunch of planet cards. The boss blind abilities get even crazier and crazier. So I guess because I don't want to make this too long, I want to get into the spoiler part in just a second. This is generally the gist of how the gameplay goes, and it's really fun because really it's the Joker. If it wasn't for the Jokers, this game would just be like, you know, rogue poker, like, okay, you know, it'd be decent. But the Jokers add so much variety into each run, right? That is what adds a lot of the creativity. Then you have like the spectral cards, the tarot cards, the planet cards that also you will upgrade yourself during the run and also add different cards to your deck. And there's so many factors like the hand you play, the card deck you use, because different decks have different abilities. This red deck gave me an extra hand. Actually, either extra hand or extra discard. I don't remember what it said, but there's so much variety in this game, and that's what's really cool about it. Like, this is obviously a passion project from one developer in a game that just, in an awesome way, just took off, right? The fact that this game took off like it did, I don't know if people are still hooked on it as much. I mean, I don't hear about it as much, but I'm sure people are still getting hooked on it. You know what I mean? Because that's just the nature of this game, right? It can be addictive because gambling's addictive, but also there's no microtransactions in this game. You're playing against the house and you're enjoying your time. You know, I can see why they took it off of the Switch eShop, but like, come on. You're playing against the house here. But yeah, definitely the Jokers add so much variety. That's what I love about this game. That's why I ended up liking it so much. I gotta shout out the music. The music is very like soothing. It's a more chill rogue game, at least compared to when I play Vampire Survivors. That was a very intense game. And you know, not as a complaint against Vampire Survivors, but it's a very different type of gaming experience, even though they're both the same genre. This one, while it can be frustrating if you don't have the right setup, if you don't play well, a lot of that is on you as the player not strategizing properly, but you know what I mean? It's satisfying because it's not super intense. It's like a more low-key rogue game. It's still, the stakes can be high, especially later on in the when you're on like the final few antes, but also like it's just satisfying when you like hit that one, you get the right cards lined up, you have the right jokers, and it's just like you see the flames coming off of the mult and the chip count, and you just score so well. It's a very satisfying experience. But yeah, I would definitely, even if you're not a fan of card games, like I'm not a huge card game person, but like this was a nice chill game to just kind of play for a little bit. Like I said, I put about 15 hours into it. It's 15 bucks, at least on Steam. That's regular price. I haven't personally seen it on sale, but it's also like it's 15 bucks. Like it's not much at all. So definitely would recommend if you're interested in checking out more indie games. If you're a fan of rogue games, I would definitely recommend it, even if you're not a card game fan, because it's revolving around a regular deck of playing cards. Probably one of the more easiest or easier card-based games to kind of pick up and play. But with that, that's going to do it for the general, I guess, spoiler-free section. I'll give you a few seconds for spoilers. Not as much to spoil, but I'll give it a little bit. All right, so the main thing I wanted to show off in the spoilers was like the collection of the different types of Jokers here, because I got a good amount of them. Went around without playing 3 of a kind. Oh, easy, I never do 3 of a kind. I could have done that. So if we look at the collection here, I have about 2/3 of the Jokers. I got all the tarot cards, not even all the planet cards. I got all the editions, all the booster packs, which essentially to get them to your collection, you have to just like buy them and have them. I'm missing a lot of the decks, I guess about half of them, but we can go over here and take a look at just all the different kinds of Jokers that are here. Some of these I definitely use more than others. You know, these ones are very specific to suits. That one I use a lot because, like I said earlier, I use straights and flush a lot. Like those are usually my go-tos. And when I don't have a straight or a flush, my go-to is usually a 2-pair, but then I realized too late that it's really not worth that many chips. But this one's really good. 4 Fingers is a really good one. All flushes and straights can be made with 4 cards. Normally it's 5. That one is very interesting. I'm trying to remember. This one's interesting. This one like randomly will change what the mult is, which is a little chaotic, but if you're into that sort of thing. I'm trying to remember. That one I haven't discovered. That one can be good when you play a lot of face cards. Like that's the thing. Like you have the right Jokers equipped, that'll change your strategy. So if I have the scary face Joker, I'm gonna prioritize playing face cards. Maybe I have the other one that promotes like maybe not a straight wouldn't work as well there, but like a flush where I could do like a flush of like a bunch of different face cards. That would be like really good. This one, Supernova's good. If you play like me, if you tend to play the same hand over and over again, this one keeps adding to your mult the more you play that hand, and it can really stack up, and it's so satisfying to watch. That one's interesting. Every played card, so even cards that you don't play in like a flush, for example, let's say you have one odd out, then you could still kind of score it. But I guess it wouldn't be a flush at that point. I don't remember getting that. Oh, the Gaps of One. That one was interesting, yeah. So there's so many different Jokers. You can see there's literally 150 Jokers in this game. The baseball one's good. Yeah, uncommon Jokers give 1.5 times mult, which can add up fast if you get a lot of uncommon ones. There's so many different types of Jokers you can get in this game. And then a lot of them are locked, so you gotta beat these challenges, win a run in 18 or fewer rounds. So that would be, you'd have to skip like at least 6 rounds, because the normal will be 3 times 8 antes, which is 24. So yeah, there's plenty to unlock in this game, and I gotta say it's a nice aesthetic too. I appreciate that, just the low-key aesthetic, and it's great because I've been meaning to support more indie games, and like I was looking into this, like I was just hearing so many great things about Balatro, and then I was just like, I don't know if it's really gonna be my type of game, but I'm really glad I got to check it out, because overall I ended up enjoying my time with it. Not enough to like stick around for a really long time, because at the end of the day, like it is just poker over and over and over again, but it's very snappy, it's very quick. And like I said, the accessibility is great because you could just literally leave at any point, like save in the middle of a run. Like that's huge, because that's one thing that definitely detracts, at least me as a newbie to rogue games, is, you know, having to essentially finish a run through, even if it means like putting my Switch or whatever console in sleep mode. This one, you just can back out at any point. Literally after you play a hand in the middle of a round, you could just back out and come back in and be right where you left off. Like that's really, really good. And yeah, there's a lot to collect if you're into collecting, but overall, it's a fun time. I'm glad I got to check it out, even if it was just for, like I said, 15 hours is not a small amount of time, at least in terms of how I put time into games, but I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for kind of a different experience, or if you're a fan of card games, but if you're a fan of roguelikes, I would still definitely recommend checking it out and seeing what you think, because it is more chill, it's more rewarding than, from what I've heard, a lot of other very punishing rogue games out there. So congrats to the developer, I forget their name, but congrats to them for like blowing up with this game, because the fact that it took off as much as it did that's awesome. So will we hear about it in Game of the Year? I mean, it could be up for Indie Game of the Year. I feel like it could. I could see it. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of competition this year for indie games, I'm sure, but we'll see. It'll probably end up being in my Game of the Year. But with that, thank you so much for watching. If you did, really do appreciate it. Let me know if you've played Balatro. I know a lot of people have. Let me know if you've played, what your kind of strategies are, how much you've enjoyed it. And if you've never played before, I mean, let me know if this got you interested. Let me know if you want to pick this game up now, you know? Let me know your thoughts. But with that, thank you again so much for watching. I will catch you all on the next video or live stream. And until then, don't gamble too much, all right? Don't throw your money away. Luckily in this game, there's no real world currency. It's all in-game, so you can go from there. But be responsible. I'm watching you.